put some respect on my name. You understand me? When y'all saying my name, put some respect on
Great. So I was talking to myself the whole time. Awesome. Well, quote of the day was, well, it's not today's quote of the day, but it was Jordan Peterson's quote, "Life is suffering." So today I was tonight, this morning, it's the crossover, so it's night to morning. I wanted to talk about Jordan Peterson's quote and how it relates to bonding and building relationships, because I believe there is a component of relationships that people have talked about, but they haven't really touched on it. And I found something that seems to make the most sense, and it relates that suffering or the suffering you go through with someone to how you guys bond with one another. Because a lot of people think someone's your friend or someone likes you or someone loves you because of the joy they bring to you. And I actually think so you can actually tell by how someone likes you, someone loves you, or someone uh you know someone values you by how much they're actually willing to suffer with you through something. That's what I believe. Because anyone can give you something or bring you joy temporarily. It doesn't take, especially if they have it to give, especially if it's given in a way to for favor. Hey, I give you this gift and I know that I'm expecting something back for it. you know So giving gifts, doesn't guarantee like someone's a good friend, because people do that to befriend people. It's normal. It's natural. It's what people do. It's how um, a lot of con men people get favor, because they do kind of give stuff. It's actually a tactic in corporate America. Say you do something naughty and it doesn't favor children. Well, then you make a big old donation to some sort of something for children to make your company look better. It's a strategy, it's a tactic. However, to really show if they really do care is they do something to try to reverse the damage they did. They spend resources to try to reverse the damage they did and prevent it from happening in the future. They have to, like, and let's just equate them spending the resources to ensure that as they're suffering, because companies are for profit. And what worse way to make profit than to spend it on something that isn't technically business related? So that's how a company would show that they value something, not as a tax write-off because they did something wrong and then they just go on about their business. Oh, we donated to this to so and so, and then they go on sometimes doing the exact same thing they did prior. But I do have a series of quotes here that you might see come up within the next month or so, or probably, well, since it's towards the tail end of December, these might end off the month, to be honest, as quotes of the day. This one's by Euripides. I believe that was a prior quote of the day. Um, and that relates to this very well. Like, if you really are a good person, or in that, relating to that quote, if you're a really good person, you're willing to suffer with someone through something. You don't just, hey, let me throw you a bone. It's kind of similar to the give a man a fish concept. You can give a man a fish, but what's better is you teach a man to fish. But in order to teach that man, you have to take time out of your day to teach him. Giving him a fish takes a lot less time and effort. You might have, you know, caught too many fish that day and you just had fish to give anyway. However, if you take that man with you to teach him to fish, okay, now there's a little more effort has to be put into that. Now you're helping that man through his suffering. Now he'll be grateful for it, for teaching him how to fish because you didn't have to. In fact, he'll probably build some sort of loyalty towards you as long as he's a decent person. He should, because you were willing to take time out of your day. You were willing to somewhat suffer with him on his behalf to teach him a skill. Now, how this relates to dating and marriages and relationships is because I have this concept where for certain individuals, I mean, it's known, usually if you're a guy, you've made a certain amount of resources in your mid 30s, you're making 80, 90 plus a year as your annual income, you're in the top 10%. Well, those guys have the pick of the litter when it comes to women. And they usually, you're only allowed one wife in America, so you get the very best you can. She typically looks the best, nothing below a six, nothing below a six. Should not happen. However, there are some cases where it is true, but there's a caveat. The reason for that is because she got with him before he started earning that income. Like Tiny and T.I. Tiny was with T.I. before he really blew up or whatever. To some extent, I'm not sure. Not too sure about that story, but I believe she actually helped him blow up in some way, shape, or form. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she's not the most attractive woman, but she's a ride or die for sure. She's suffered throughout all those years with him to get to where she is and to benefit from what he has become. And that loyalty is rewarded. So I think I made a prior video where I was kind of teasing on how average chicks can get the so-called high value guys. And high value is based off of you can go based off of Campus Samuel standards or my own, which I will display in a later video. But it's not too far off, to be honest. It's just a little bit of discrepancies here and there. But how a woman would get that kind of guy is typically you have to get him before he gets to where he is. You know, Unfortunately, it's based off of some potential. It is a risk because when you date off potential, somebody could end up failing. That's why women tend to want to date based off of what you have currently, what you have achieved, your achievements, your accomplishments. Because it's not potential, it is what it is. You have proof of what you're capable of. But some of these guys that do have potential young, they might have some accomplishments that kind of how can I say it? They have accomplishments that pretty much, I don't want to say guarantees because there's no guarantees, but it makes it clear that okay, he has very his potential is statistically favorable in certain like a guy could be like I'm going in and I'm going to go get into medical school and I'm gonna become a doctor. Well, his accomplishments could be he was volunteering at some hospitals. He might have some nursing, you know, certifications or whatever. He's already working at a hospital. He has an acceptance letter at multiple medical schools, like some of the top tier medical schools. Like, that kind of potential is very favorable because it's like, I mean, dude's kind of in there. He just has to get through it. And I think a lot of women, a lot of ladies will take a risk on that. They'll be like, okay, yeah, he's definitely got the potential. He's not where he could be, but you could see eventually he will get there, or there's a very likely chance he will get there. However, as Jason Black says, women do punish failure. And if for some odd reason, despite his accomplishments up to that moment in time, and despite his gleaming potential, if he gets arrested or something for driving drunk or DUI or doing weed or some dumb crap like that, now there's hell to pay. She made a good risk, I mean, she took on a fairly decent risk, I mean, I think that's reasonable. I wouldn't mind my daughter dating that type of guy. He has some accomplishments. He might have a decent pedigree, which is something I plan on touching on because his his parents might have also worked in the medical field, so they know what they're talking about. He might have a doctor in his family, like a aunt, or his parents might have been doctors. His grandfather might have been doctors. So pedigree also plays a big part of it. But he might have had some things where it's like it's obvious. It's like, okay, yeah, this is a fairly good choice. He has good qualities, et cetera, et cetera. So yes, I'm okay with dating him on potential. However, that we're not going to do all this shenanigans. Moving in together. I ain't gonna lie, I prefer my daughter to be a virgin till marriage. I prefer my daughter she be living at home till she finds her man. That's what I'd prefer, to be honest. That's what I'm planning on. Because I don't want to leave her out here and to be susceptible to all this buffoonery that's going on today, especially with modern women. I don't want her doing this thought culture. So the suffering. So of course, medical school is difficult. It can take up to 10 years. You have to be very, you know, perseverance is key. You have to be consistent, persistent. You have to go through it all, you know. And then once you get through at the end, then you reap the benefits. So a lady who's willing to get with a guy like that and in a sense suffer with him, um, I mean, 10 years is a while, so that's a big risk. I'd rather her start dating him when he's like 5 years in and he's doing a residency or something. I'd rather that because that means her youth will be used up waiting on this guy, to get through medical school. So So it'd be more reasonable for her to actually get a guy that's already in medical school. That might be a tip, ladies. So if you're a young lady, you might want to get the guy that's already in medical school. That you're relying less on potential because he's in there. He's actually doing the work to get there, and he's a few years ahead. So that's less time you got to risk waiting. But the suffering part, I do think there is something where when someone's willing to suffer with you through something that it builds some sort of unique bond with them. They gain favor, with you. Of course, there might be some hormonal responses as well, that kind of backs it up. That reward system we have because when you're kind of feeling down and out, and someone comes and rubs your back and like kind of soothes you and stuff like that, it helps. You are in a somewhat vulnerable state when you know that you're vulnerable to, especially as a man, you're vulnerable when you're not able to provide for your not only you know forget providing for someone else, but when you're not able to provide for yourself, you're in a very vulnerable state when you know your worth, your value is bottom of the barrel low. You're low on the when it comes to value compared to other men. Now you could be down, but you never want to be out, but you're at the low point right now. And if there's a someone who's willing to suffer with you through that, and when I say suffer, I mean like, they in there with you. Like they not just like, oh, they just give you a couple of words of encouragement. No, like they reach out to you and they're there with you through it, the entire process. That means a lot. Usually it's our family because, they have obligations and whatnot, but that means a lot. That's to be honest, I think that's probably why people bond so much more, so much better with their family because your family is with you, like literally. Like I don't even partially because they don't really have a choice because they're your family. You can't pick our families; they're our family. But they want to see someone in their family thrive. There might be some a little bit of selfishness because if you make it, they assume you'll help them or give them, they'll reap some type of benefit off of you making it. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of that as well, but you build the bond with them because they're there with you through the suffering part of your life. Because as a man, your lowest value is when you're young. You haven't produced anything because you're young. You haven't been out there, so that you're at your lowest value, which is why you're more likely to bond. And to be honest, I think that's why some of these chicks that have these dudes in their back pocket, the hey big heads and whatnot, it's like they'll, even though they might not deal with the nerd when he's young or whatever, that's what they like to call them, the good guys when they're young, they'll get their foot in the door. They might, smile at you, say hey or whatever, or whatever, try to. But they'll let you know, like, they're not trying to deal with you, but they'll be nice, whatever, to you. And in a way, you'll kind of remember that. You'll build a level of nostalgia with them. So when they do that, hey, big head text some years later, when your value is higher and hers is lower, you give her the benefit of the doubt over other women because you might like her like that. She might have been there for you a time or two in the past. Maybe. She actually was willing to smile at you, talk to you when you were at your lowest value. And I mean, you can't really take offense if she didn't deal with you because you didn't have much and she chose to deal with older guys or the guy that actually has something going on, like the jock. I mean, can you blame her? I mean, what did you have? What did, other than being a nice guy, what did you have to offer her? Let's just be real. Because you're a young kid. You didn't have anything to offer, most likely. I doubt any of y'all was balling like that to where you could buy her stuff like that other guy she probably was dealing with, even though he might have been doing it through illegal means. But he got her stuff. He made her feel special. Let me see the next quote. Now that quote, I'm definitely gonna post that as the quote of the day. And there's a lot that comes with that because life is suffering, and that is so much true. And I believe it's through that suffering that we build the greatest bonds with people because anybody can be your friend when you're up. When you're up and you're winning, anybody and everybody's is gonna be all in your face. You can ask, a lot of these rapper celebrities, they all rap about it in their songs. Ask people with money and status, they'll tell you, oh yeah, everybody's friendly until they realize that they ain't gonna get nothing. Until they're certain they're not gonna get nothing, then they're not friendly or they show their true side. But yeah, anybody could be your friend and cool with you when you're down and out, when you're up and winning. But not too many people will be cool with you when you're down and out. And that's when I believe we build the greatest bonds. However, unfortunately, it doesn't always work out the best when it comes to dating because women do have a narrow window when they can get the best they can, and it is preferable they don't date on potential. However, the ladies that, and this is usually the average woman, because usually the better looking women they usually don't have to date on potential because the men they can get are usually in a certain bracket anyway to begin with. But when it comes to the average women, when it comes to the average woman, they normally won't get picked for wifey status by those higher earning dudes because those higher earning dudes will be picking from the above average looking women. So they're more likely to date on potential. It's also true if you're coming from an impoverished background. Delayed gratification isn't a thing, so you're kind of jump on the best ship you got coming, you know, ASAP. They jump on the best thing that's coming at the moment. They they don't think they don't think twice about it. But a young man, you are your lowest value is when you're young. You haven't done anything. That's your lowest value, and it increases over time, which is why your options increase as you get older, as you continue to produce and build. But what about that chick who was willing to suffer with you? The woman who was willing, who showed you the effort and was like, "Hey, I'm willing to pay wifey when you're down and out." She supported you and stuff. I mean, you're going to build bonds. You are definitely going to build a bond with her. And if she's been with you through thick and thin, it's going to weigh on you. So I'm just saying, like you're going to build a bond with her, a legit, real, genuine bond because she was with you when you were down and out. Now, like I said, it is a strategy. She is taking a risk, and you best believe if you fail, and it is certain, and this is another thing that Jason Black says, it's not the failure or whatever, it is the certainty of it. Like if not only if you're down and out, but if you've given up, meaning you just give up on life. When you're down and out and it's certain that things will not improve, that's when that's when she's gonna leave, pretty much. You lost favor and all that because you're now you're down and out for good. You've lost. That's very true. Like life is full of ups and downs, but even when you're down, you're still working to get back up. Now that she stay with you through that. He talks about uncertainty. Yeah, she'll stay with you through uncertainty because it could get better. But once she's certain it won't get better, then that's when she starts looking for her other options. She might just straight up leave you because she might already have another option. But yeah, and I think I might end with this last quote because I have a couple more quotes I could fire off. And this one's from MLK Jr. himself. So we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. That is another very true quote. And I relate that to this topic in a way where, like I said, when you're down and out, are your so-called friends and family, are they there to help? Are they willing to be around you and suffer with you when you're down? Not out. Like I said, you don't want to be certain. You don't want to have a loss to, like you've already lost and you're not trying to get better. But it's like you're just down. You're working your way back up, but are they there with you while you're working your way back up? Or do they only come around when you're up? Do they only want to come around when it's joy? When they know they can give you something and you're going to give them something back? Are they giving to you when they know you're down and you're not able to give back? That's rememberable. And people do take that. You take that. What is it? It's called a fair weather friend. When people are only around, like your friends are only around when things are good because they don't want to deal with none of the bad. They don't want to suffer with you. Can you really call them a friend? Can you? The same thing with a relationship. Of course you build loyalty, especially if she's willing to stay with you. But don't. See, I know there's options, and I know like a woman's options are limited, and you as a man, you can improve your value over time by accumulating more resources and maybe getting a better career path or something. You can do that in your 30s, 40s. Probably don't want to wait till your 50s to do that, but it's possible to turn things around as a man and actually improve your value. That's not the same case with women when it comes to finding a mate, a viable mate. Her value is, to be honest, most likely between the ages of 18 to 25. It's a fairly wide range, but some people might narrow it to like 20 to 23, but I'll give it a fairly wide range. So she doesn't have time to waste. She has maybe a decade to make the best mate choice for her entire life. You have to you gotta think about it from their perspective. I mean, what would you do if you only had 10 years to get the best? If you wait till your 30s and 40s to figure stuff out, you're done. That's another thing. Sorry, ladies, but in my opinion, any woman over 30 out of the question for marriage today in America, in the world. Any woman over 30. If I were not married, I wouldn't even consider anybody over 27, to be honest. And the ladies over 40, I hope you got a nice, good career and some savings, because don't expect no dude worth a damn, the wad men, to come and save you. You might be able to get an average man or a underperforming man. They usually like to prey on the younger guys, you know, the younger average guys, because that's pretty much what they get. But a guy actually worth a damn that is their age, he's not. Nope, not even. Not gonna happen. So I hope y'all, hope y'all got it figured out. Just saying. But to the ladies that actually, enter their hat in the ring, they suffered with a young man while he was young and building. They saw potential in him. They probably sought, uh, how can I say, counsel from their elders. If you got a male figure in your life, a father figure, a father, which is better, he can tell you, okay, this is he's an upstanding young man. Nothing's perfect. Don't, I mean, I know, guys, I'm sorry, but I know women, they have fantasies and they make these projections in their mind. Oh yeah, you're gonna be successful, mad successful. You're gonna be making 400,000 a year. You're gonna buy me that car, and et cetera, et cetera. You might only get to the point where you're maybe making 150. Things might not work out. You might get to a point where you're making, you might be making 90 at 35. You got a kid on the way. And she might feel some type of way because she was expecting you to make 350. You got to kind of be reasonable. But there's other things at play when it comes to that. Um, for one, you want to make sure that you are her best option. I will say that. Because if you're not, if she thinks she has something better, she will. I mean, she has limited time, guys. Like, if she thinks she has something better on the hook, she gonna take it. If you're underperforming for some reason, she's gonna look for better options. That's just what it is. Hope, and if she gets caught doing so and lying, then cut it off. There are consequences. There are consequences. Cut it off. And she has to work her. She has to bring more value after she does that. See, I'm equal opportunity. I'll cut you off, and I'll give you a chance to work your way back. But it's gonna be hard. Let me find out you talking to other dudes when we're courting. Now this is outside of a marriage. This is unmarried. Now if we're married, that's a totally different thing because it's strict. You done made your choice. Yeah, so you done made your choice. Now you doing inside of marriage, done, absolutely done. Outside of a marriage, like when I was younger and dating, I actually expected girls to be talking to other dudes because I have nothing. I was young. I was at my lowest value. I know I didn't have, I was still going through college and everything. I knew it. I knew the game. I know girls talk to multiple guys all the time. They might have an older guy that has money or whatever. I, I'm not stupid. But my thing is, don't lie to me about it. Don't come to me and mean talking about, oh, I want to be monogamous. We don't talk to anybody, and yet alone you up here talking to somebody. You're way more willing to hit the kill switch on things because you got that dude in your back pocket. Your monkey branch into the next dude that you've been talking to for 3 4 months while you're with me. I'm not stupid, but just don't lie to me because you want to try to make sure I'm not talking to anyone else, that my options are limited, but yours aren't. I think it's funny. I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I do think it's funny how and I made this comment where, one of the reasons why it's perceived guys cheat more. I mean, of course, the nature of guys is to have as much sex as possible, but at the same time, a lot of the time today, it's expected. Like most women, I don't even want to say think. It's like most women know guys cheat or want to cheat. And it's like that's a fact to me because like I've been accused of cheating. I've never cheated in my life, but I've been accused of it like 2 3 times, just to kind of find out it was actually the other person. But and then on the back end, and I've been in situations where the guy was being cheated on, and he didn't believe it. He didn't believe his girl was stepping out on him, and so it's like on the back end, most guys think women don't cheat or won't cheat. And part of this reason is because usually the ones to push monogamy are the women. Ironically, a guy thinks he gets into a relationship. She's like, "Oh, I want to be monogamous. I want you to be my one and only," etc., etc. We already know women have options. They keep their options open. Guys, women keep their options open. If you ain't put a ring on it, if y'all ain't married, even sometimes, even if y'all are married, she got some dude she talking to on the side. It might just look like a friend thing. It might be that dude at the gym. It might be the dude that she knew back in college. She got somebody on the hook whom is of the opposite sex, whom you and I both know that if she wanted to, she could have them sexually. So yes, they keep their options open always. It's a tactic. That's just what it is. What it is. However, it's the deceptive part. That's the part. That's the part I have the problem with. I mean, you can understand that, which keep your options open. Yeah, cool. But it's the deceptive part that gets to me. That's really what gets to me. I'm going on a tangent. I might need to cut this short. But it's the deceptive part that gets to me, where she pushes monogamy. She wants to make it seem like she's not doing things, like she's not out here dealing and dating with other guys, all the while ensuring that you aren't. Oh, you think your girl ain't going through your phone? That's another thing. What is up with this thing about not going through people's phones? Like that's like if you want to find out if somebody's cheating on you, that's like the number one way to find out. And ironically, for some reason, people have pushed this narrative not to do that, even though eight out of 10 times your girl's going through your phone when you're sleeping. If you leave your phone around your girl, you know she gonna go through your damn phone, but you're expected not to go through hers. What kind of backwards dumb crap does that sound like? Just think about that. Think about that. Let that settle in. The number one way to find out if something is going on, we know most of the time she's going through your freaking phone if you leave it around her unprotected, and you got some macho energy around you. I'm a oh, real men don't go through people's phones and crap like that. Like what are we talking about here? If I'm paying for that phone, I'm gonna use it however I damn well please. And that's another thing. That is if you're paying for a phone. Now, if you ain't paying for a phone, then you ain't got no damn power to begin with. But if I'm paying for that damn phone, I'm gonna have access to the damn phone. Same goes for my children. If I'm paying for that phone, I'm gonna have access to that phone if I want to. So let's stop that nonsense, please. Just ugh, filth. And then sitting up here acting like they girl, acting like your girl ain't doing nothing you don't know. How do you know if you ain't going through her phone? How do you know if you don't even know where your girl at? Like, I mean, come on, people. And then we wonder, and then there's this pride factor. There's this pride factor because and I remember this discussion vividly. I think I was on Anton's show, and I was talking about my relationship and situation, and I made that comment where most men don't assume women cheat, but most women assume guys cheat, which is why, people push this narrative that guys get caught cheating more or whatever, which there is some truth to that, which is one of the reasons I just explained, which is guys literally don't go through their spouse's phones because they think for some reason it's weak to do so. Yet your spouse going all up in your phone. Another factor is who pushed for monogamy. Let's just be real. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it's the woman pushing for monogamy, but she keeping her options open. Oh my God. Mm-mm-mm. What a shame. But yeah, I think it's funny. I think people need to expand their horizons. You kind of need to dive into that a little bit more. And this is about the cheating part. This is the crossover. I usually talk about multiple subjects. It is now officially Monday morning. So, I crossed over from Sunday night. I was talking about suffering and relationships, and I talked about one of the ways people suffer in relationships, which is they find out their spouse is talking to someone or cheating on them or betrayed their trust, that kind of thing. So I guess it's still somewhat on topic because it's suffering. But I find that very interesting. But back to the what I was talking about. I was on Anton's late night discussion, and it was like there was a pride because if and I think about this now, think about this. There's a pride that women have because they kind of, for one, they always say like they do this batshit crazy crap like, oh, why did that guys cheat? And this they push that narrative like, oh, guys cheat, guys are cheaters. Why do guys cheat? All that crap, right? And then on the back end, they have this pride about them because it just makes them feel so smart and make them think that they're so sneaky. Now, this is most women. And then they're like, "Oh, well, girls, we just smarter. We know how to get away with it when it comes to cheating." Think about that. Think about how backwards that is. They are boasting, usually about their ego, but they are boasting about being smarter at getting away with stuff. Getting away with stuff that we know, which in this case it's cheating. It's the boasting about being smarter at getting away with it because they know 10 times out of 10 they betrayed someone's trust because they straight up they had to lie to someone's face about it. That's the true. That's the truth. She definitely lied to you. You ask where she at. She said she at her friend's house. She wasn't at her friend's house. She straight up lied to you. But how you gonna know? You don't go through her phone, remember? You don't even know where she at. But yeah, that is one thing women do, and that's backwards. They boast about getting away. Women are smarter at cheating because they get away with it. Like what kind of backwards knowledge is that? And then they try to debate what I said about um they tried to debate what I said, which was the reason why that is. One of the main reasons that is because women assume guys are cheating and guys don't assume women are cheating. Because the guys still kind of hold this false narrative that women are angels, and it's natural because we how can I say it? Guys do have I'm gonna touch on it in the masculine thing, but guys do have a natural affinity towards the feminine, because we valued it. We do value it. And to us, they kind of do seem kind of, I mean, think about it. We provide and protect for them. Jesus Christ, like, so guys do value it, the feminine, and they want to make it, sometimes they'll assume, oh, she'll never cheat on me because she's an angel, she won't do wrong. All the while doing dirt, she talking to you and 4 and 5 dudes she probably didn't smack. Like, I don't want to get into the red pill talks about it, but I mean there are situations I know of where she definitely did smash the homie. She definitely did. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, some of it is true. And they don't know why, because they believe the lie that she wouldn't cheat on them. They believe the lie that she was an angel and all that kind of nonsense. No, she human, Bo. She human. Women definitely keep their options open. They got a narrow window. Even though they might say that they don't know, they know. They know we value youth, which is why they use the sign language to try to shame guys that go after younger women. We all know it. It's just feigning ignorance. That's what it is. But I thought that was interesting. I might have to touch on the El Guapo situation. I thought that was interesting. If you don't know, he was El Guapo. He's a fairly new YouTube guy affiliated with the lead attorney, and his fiance, whom was Afro Latina. So shout out to the international women because apparently some guys think they're better, but they are women. It's the nature of women worldwide in general. If there might be a better option, she's gonna leave her options up, and I mean, come on, people, just understand that's just how it is. But he was engaged, and she kept her options open. Now, he did do the right thing by cutting it off. I will say that because he did say like, "Hey, don't talk to so and so," and she continued to talk to so and so. But guess what? Guess how he found out? Through the phone by accident. He claims. Like I said, like I mean, how are you gonna know if you don't go through the phone? Dude was literally about to stroll down the aisle, and because he had her phone, he realized what the get down was. She definitely betrayed his trust. Now, mind you, it wasn't the fact she was doing it; it was the fact that she lied about it. She went behind his back. That's what it was, because he had told her not to do it, and she definitely did it. She said she wouldn't do it, and she did exactly what she said she wouldn't do. That's the part that really is for me. It's the you go against my trust because I already know a woman's gonna keep her options open. And to be honest, if you're gonna be honest with me, hey, I like you, but I'm gonna keep my options open because that I do have some other guys that might, okay, cool. And I'm gonna keep you in the side chick. You're gonna forever be a side chick. I'm not gonna consider you anything serious, or I'm just not gonna deal with you. I'm gonna cut it off because that's my options. That's my options as well. But I think I'm gonna cut it short because I actually want to go eat something. I actually want to go eat something. And I will be doing, Jesus, I gotta work. See, they got my work schedule all kind of weird. I am off on Christmas, so I do plan on doing, um, I think I do the masculine dive either sometime this weekend because I am off then because I do like to prepare a little bit before I do the dives. This is more like a soliloquy and the crossovers. Every now and then I might open it up, but this is more of a soliloquy, just me rambling my thoughts. And then eventually I'll do a dive into the subject, which this weekend it'll be masculinity. So I gotta double check to make sure it's the right day and time. But it will be I think probably the day after Christmas. Probably because I might go see the new Matrix movie, which I might have to do a dive on that as well. A reflex to that, the Matrix. I do plan on doing a couple of skits too, based off the Matrix, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, suffering. I do think there is something to that suffering part, that suffering component when it comes to relationships. Because when we're suffering, when we're down and out, that's when we're our most vulnerable. If you think about it, sometimes people that are going through abuse That's when they're at their most vulnerable state is when they're, that down and out state, and they don't think somebody will help them out. But that abuser, that potential abuser, he takes advantage of them. He or she takes advantage of them. Equal opportunity. He or she takes advantage of them while they're down in that down and out state, and then they develop that bond. What is it? I can't think of what it's called. When someone, Jesus, I can't think of it. But there was a case when somebody abducted someone, and this girl, and then she actually developed a bond with him because he took care of her and all this other stuff, and she was officially his prisoner, but she developed a liking for him, and she, of course, she had to go through a lot of therapy or whatever to kind of break out of it. But even that, it supports it because she was in that down and out state. She was completely, he could have did whatever he wanted to her, and he provided her food. Like if you were to get an animal, it could be somewhat feral. Of course, they're going to be hard to train, but if you feed them, you provide them food, eventually they might actually develop a liking for you because they're caged. You have them confined. They're kind of in that down and out stage. You can, you know, off them, delete them, kill them, whatever you want to call it, whenever you want to, and they kind of know it. And, oh yeah, Stockholm syndrome. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, Stockholm syndrome. But you can kind of off the animal at any moment, and they kind of know it subconsciously. But they but when you feed them and you kind of take care of them, they eventually might develop some type of relationship with you. That's why I think, and this is true in the animal kingdom in general, because I know you've probably seen some videos where a lion was like taking care of a freaking gazelle baby or something like that, something weird like that. Um, but there is something about that state of being down and out and going through that suffering when people develop those bonds, a really strong bond. And as guys, we kind of know we're at our lowest point in value when we're young, and it only increases from there as long as you're producing. And shout out to Shannon Rawls, Stockholm syndrome. But it it's something about that state because, like I said, we as guys, we know where we're young, we're at our lowest value. But if there is a girl that gives us attention or favor or something when we're at our lowest value, there's that bonding component of it. There's some type of bonding component there. And I definitely plan on coming back to this subject because it is very, very intriguing. And there is a lot to support it because one thing about one thing about my channel is I don't just push ideologies. I search for the truth. And I'm gonna drop the link if you want to come in, Shan. But I search for the truth. And one thing I know about the truth is when you find the truth, it is true. It you it's just it is what it is. It could be any situation, any scenario, and it is what it is. There's no, talking around it. There's no making excuses. There's no, like, I talk about celebrities, regular people, whatever. Like, because relationships, when you talk about the truth, it's the same for everyone, whether you believe it or not. It is. We just don't, especially when it comes to celebrities. We see the highlights of their life, like social media with most people. But the thing is, there's some things that we might not necessarily know about the situation, which still leads to the truth. Of course, we have to speculate because we might not never know the truth. Every now and then, more details about certain relationships and situations, like what was it, the Steph Curry relationship, where they might have a open relationship similar to the Smiths, which was also speculated. So now it gives a little bit more insight on their relationships, even though for the past few years, both of their relationships seem to be doing well or look to be doing fairly well. Both the Smiths and the Currys, just to come to find out, they both got open relationships. I mean, if that's not groundbreaking, I mean, come on, people, because it's the truth. you look at it, you think one thing, but it is what it is. And it's something and now Aisha, she got into Curry, of course, before he was Steph Curry. And if I'm just being honest, if Steph had waited until now to get with somebody, he wouldn't be with Aisha. Period. If he had waited, because he is at the peak of his value right now. If he had waited till now to get a wife, he wouldn't have picked Aisha. Period. Period. And I'll give her the benefit of doubt. Even if we rewind Aisha 10 years, bring her back to when she was in her 20s, he probably still wouldn't have picked her. Period. Because he didn't develop a bond like he did with her before he got on or before he became. Because I believe she was dating him. Because he went to Davidson. Shout out to Davidson. It's about 30 minutes away from me. Um, so he went to Davidson College. I knew some people that were that actually graduated from Davidson. Shout out to them. And he was a fairly well known phenom because he took them to the Elite Eight. Davidson was a not so well known. Today they're still somewhat not so well known, but he put them on the map. He put Davidson on the map. So he had potential, which, like I said earlier, some women can date men on potential, and Aisha took the chance. She dated him on potential. Yes, I think he might have been in the NBA at the time. I'm not sure, but she definitely got him early. She got him before he was the most valuable. I definitely know that. Locked him down with some kids too. Oh yeah, she in there. She in there. But he wouldn't have chose her. I think if Will Smith had waited till now to get married, we can rewind we can rewind Jada back to her 20s. He probably wouldn't have picked her either. If I'm just being real. But guess what? They got them when they were younger. Now, don't get me wrong, Jada was attractive. She did have a little thing going on too. She wasn't the status Will is, today, but she was an actress as well, respectable. But we know her as Jada Pinkett Smith, not Jada Pinkett. We know her as Jada Pinkett Smith. So he definitely elevated her status. But it's that bonding process in both these women. They got those guys before they were on. Of course, they had something going for themselves because Aisha, she too was also an actress or something of that nature as well. Not as successful, but she did have some awards and stuff as well. So she wasn't a bum, per se. But she definitely was like, okay, yeah, let me cling on to this dude right here because he got some. He's got up for she found him attractive, but she was like, yeah, he got potential. Let me cling on to him early. Both of them, both Jada and Aisha. And it's I don't want to say it's a bad thing because like I said, it is a dating strategy. Um, especially for I don't want to say troubled people, but especially for average women. It's to be honest, it's probably the only way they can get with a guy of that status is if they get him early, or if that guy that makes that money, if it was like through means where he didn't have to earn it. Um, like maybe some dude, some bum run the lottery. Even then, the dude that won the lottery, he's still going to be trying to trick on swimsuit models and stuff of that nature. So it's like that's really the only situation where I can imagine a dude that makes any like a dude that makes over I'd even say 75,000 a year, 80,000, someone who's in the top 20%. Technically that's like the top 13%. But, someone who's in that bracket, I find it very difficult to kind of find them really dating a woman and marrying a woman who's average looking, who isn't at least cute, slightly above average. I find, and now she might be a butterface, but she might have some other, like that. At least that body gonna be on point for sure, and she might be capable of doing some things in the bedroom. But she's gonna be above average overall. And that's why when I made that video about how average women can get high value men, it's usually you got to get them early, and you do have to date somewhat on potential, because it is a risk. Like I said, there's no guarantees when a guy's young. You can improve your chances by looking for certain qualities and all that stuff of that nature, especially when it comes to pedigree, especially when it comes to his accomplishments at the time. A guy who's 21, 22, he's got certifications in something. He's got recognition from his elders or people who are in the career field that he's aspiring to be in. People of that nature, like they're actually putting in work at a young age. They might not have the money, but they're putting in the work to get to that point. But you still are dating on potential. But I believe it's that it's the suffering, it's the willingness to suffer with someone that really develops that bond. Because you never really know if you really love someone until after it's all said and done. Because then you can look back on how much they suffered with you, and then that's how you really know, how much someone really loved you, if they really loved you, or did they just, they, even if they're actively suffering with you. Like I said, if you fail, you there will be consequences if you fail. Because remember, you wasting her time. She's betting on you. She's taking on a risk. So if you fail, she best believe she will. She, there will be consequences. But you never really know love someone until it's all said and done. I mean, you can be in love with someone, which can be fleeting because, like I said, if you fail while you're in process, she'll show you how much she really love you. But when it's all said and done, that's when you really can tell how much someone really loved you, in my opinion. I have love for my wife. She loves me. We've already been through 10 years of suffering together. So like, and the more we get through life together, the more we have to go through, because there's going to be more ahead. The more we continue to suffer with one another, we've already made such a bond. I don't see myself leaving her. Like it would be extremely difficult for me to just cut her off completely. Now, if she were to step out on another, disrespect me in that nature, then it would make it a lot easier. But I'm not just gonna cut my wife off just because she gets old and senile and I can go mess around with the 20-year-olds. Nah, Imma take care of her. Them other chicks just gonna be concubines. They gonna be the side chicks and concubines. She gonna forever be the number one. She my ride or die. Period. And she know it. She knows it. But she knows she mess up. She knows she can be replaced. She know that too. And I know I'm her best option for sure. But I think I'll end it here. I need to go get some food. I'm gonna go eat something. I just got off work. Man, they got me working like 8 days straight, man. So, but at least I get almost a darn week off for Christmas. It is what it is. You gotta get out there and get it how you live. But I will have to dive back into the subject for sure because I think there is something here, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, if this is the truth, there will be more evidence of this. So far, I haven't seen anything that disputes it. But there is this thing about someone's willingness to suffer with you and the strength of the bond you can develop with them versus people that are w- fair weather friends. They're just there for the joy of life. They're not willing to actually suffer with you. I hope you enjoyed the crossover. Dang, I went for an hour. This is longer than I thought. I'm up here thinking I'm gonna get on here for 15 minutes. I'm telling you, this is soliloquy. Sorry. Hey, I might have to break this down, probably split it up into two parts or something. But yes. So life is suffering. Life is definitely suffering. Who's here to suffer with you? Till next time.
お前はもう死んでいる。